Hello and welcome to my short video on knowledge that could have been lost over time. So I'm a member of a Facebook group called the Upcycled Cloth Collective, and what we do in that group, we look at ways where we can upcycle cloth that's already been used once. It could be clothing, it could be upholstery fabrics, anything like that, and we'll look at how we can recycle it, repurpose it, reuse it and make some really good things. Every month we've got a magazine, and that magazine looks at different articles. This month it's all about lost knowledge and what things our grandparents did, our great-grandparents did, the skills that they had, and how over time these skills get lost. So what I'm going to talk about today is rag rugs, clipped rugs, and this is one that I'm in the process of making. Now, as you can see, it's not finished, it's part finished, and this is how far I've got with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk you through how I make this, what you need to make one, how easy they are to make, and hopefully some of these old t-shirts, 90s, this sort of thing, they won't end up in landfill if everyone just pledged to make a little rug, make it for your dog, make it for your cat, make it for the side of your bed. When I was growing up, I used to have these at the side of my bed that my grandma had made, but instead of t-shirting, she used to only use pure wool in hers, but I've repurposed some old t-shirts. So if you want to have a look and see how this is made, stay with me and I will show you. A few years ago, I got this rug tool in a box from eBay, and this is actually some sort of a rug maker's actual tool, but interestingly the tin excited me more than anything. As you can see, it's a really old tin, but within that tin there were also some like hooks for rug making and some other strange looking things within there. You definitely though don't need anything as complicated as this. As you see further on in the video, I use one of these plastic propelling pencils. So this is the back of the rug, which I actually always think looks a lot better than the front of the rug, but that just shows the design on it and what it looks like from the back. First of all, you need some coarse woven fabric. Now this is an old Hessian sack. This was an old feed sack that's Hessian, but you need something like this, something that you can actually push your peg through like that to make the rug. Second thing that you will need is you will need some old t-shirts or some old fabric. I tend to use t-shirts because there's always plenty of them, and you can cut them and you can get quite standard pieces. Now if you look at the back of this rug, this is the back, you can see the design that I'm doing. So once you've got your piece of Hessian, what you need to do is you need to decide on a design. Now as you can see, this is a flower. I started out with a rough idea in my head of what I was going to do, and I drew out some flowers. Now I just drew it straight onto the Hessian sack because I'm a bit like that. Just drew it straight on with a felt tip pen. As you can see, I made some mistakes, but it didn't matter because they were all going to be covered up anyway. So I drew my big flowers and then I made a start. So our first job is to cut some strips for the rags. So what we need to do is we need to cut a strip which is approximately 4 inches long and 1 inch wide. Now it doesn't have to be exact, and I'm definitely not an exact person, but that is the size that we're sort of looking for in our pieces of t-shirting. What I tend to do is I tend to get a piece of t-shirting, I get a piece of t-shirt. I cut the hems off and save them for other projects. I find that sleeves tend to be the right size. So what I'll do is I'll just cut the seam off here like that. I will roughly measure this knowing that I need to cut 1 inch, and then I will cut it across. Now, the width of the strips, they don't have to be exact, luckily, because I'm not an exact person. But I know that if I cut this and I cut that seam off there, that will be approximately the right size. And that's it. Now, what I would suggest you do is, I would suggest that you cut a large number of these to begin with, because the one thing that I found is, if I'm sitting doing the actual rug, doing the actual pegging, it's really irritating if you don't have enough pieces of fabric to get a good sort of rhythm going. So what I tend to do is, I tend to cut up, you know, a few hundred at a time and get them all sorted out. I use cat food boxes and I just put the different colours in. I've got a few cut here now. This was a child's t-shirt, I think. It's got some silver on it. This was an old nightie. These were just t-shirts, normal t-shirts. It doesn't really matter because you won't see the patterns on them. Even though I would like to think you can, you don't see these patterns. Right, this now is the exciting bit where we get started with the actual pegging of the rug. So, you need your rug. You need an area where you've got your hessian ready to go. And because this is my design, I know that this next piece here needs to be pink, and I need to put some pink pieces in here. So if you look in the weave here, you can actually see, if I lift it up, that where the pieces of fabric have been pushed through, the weave here is tighter. You see how it's tightened up? That's what actually holds the fabric in. So as you work through here, each piece of fabric that you push through pushes the weave together, and it actually holds these in, and these are in quite tight. Even though they're not fastened or sewn in, they are actually in quite tight. So here's the exciting bit, or I like to think of it as the creative bit. Here we go. With the tool, I roughly count in 2 spaces here. I push the tool in, I push it under 2, and I push it all the way through. Keep on pushing right the way through until it goes through those 2 pieces. Then I get my piece of fabric here, which is my t-shirt, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the tool up and trap my piece of t-shirt in the tool. So a bit of messing about because I've had my hand underneath to hold it. I'm going to open the tool, trap the t-shirt in the tool and pull it through, and I'll wiggle it from side to side as I pull it through, and that's it. And then I'll let go of it, and that's my piece in. Now as you see, that has really pulled this up, but that doesn't matter because when I go into the next one here, that will actually close up and the next one will be pulled up into a loop. So I push it all the way through, I get my piece of fabric and I trap it in, and then I pull it through. Once you've got it to there, you don't need the tool anymore. You can actually use your fingers just to pull it through. And then I go on to the next piece here. And this is basically it. I push it through, grab my piece of fabric and pull it. And once you get going with this, it is so quick. You can do quite a large part of the rug in a few minutes. Pushing it in, push it through, grab your piece of fabric and pull it through. So there you go, and as you can see, that's the next colour. Now what you can also do when you've got all this done is trim it off with a pair of scissors to make it all sit nice and flat and be all the same length. So I hope you've enjoyed this short tutorial, and thank you for watching. So when I said that you needed a tool to do this, I did a little bit of experimenting because my grandma did use a sharpened clothes peg. Did a little bit of experimenting and I found that a pencil, well, a plastic propelling pencil, works just as well. So if you find your hole there, put your fabric on top, push it down using the pencil through the hole. You'll feel when it pushes through. See that? Go to the other side and you will see where your pencil is pushed through. There. Get hold, pull it through. Remember, don't pull it all the way through. And then I'm going to look for the hole, get my pencil, put that and push it back through using my pencil like that. Just wiggle it about a bit, give it a push, and then when we turn it over you will be able to see where the pencils come through. And even though it's a bit more fiddly, you can get that and just pull it back through. Just make sure that you get hold of both ends to even it up, or else you'll end up pulling it all the way through again. And then one last one. So we'll do one at the side. Get another piece of this. Notice it's like pink spotted. See the spots? Must have been a nightie or something. So I'm just going to choose the hole, push it through, make sure that the pen is on the fabric piece. Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. Push it into the hessian, turn the hessian over, and there it is, look. Can you see it? Get hold, pull it through, get my pen, and press it back through. Find my pen and pull it and just give it a bit of a tug. You will find that as you go these will get tighter and tighter because, as you can see, look, the weave does just close up. And now I'll show you a picture of the rug so far. You can see how much I've done, you can see how much I've still got to do.